battle in Edoro town.
We are not going anywhere. We are rejecting the finance bill. Parliament tutafika. Nikume.
It did not begin with crowds. It did not begin with chants, or sirens, or smoke rising over the city. It began quietly, almost invisibly, inside phones. In May 2024, when the government tabled the Finance Bill 2024 through the National Treasury, it seemed like just another policy document, pages filled with numbers, clauses, and economic language that most citizens had learned to ignore. But this time, a generation that had grown up online decided to read it. Young Kenyans, most Gen Zs, picked it apart line by line, not in boardrooms or television studios, but on TikTok, on X, and on Instagram. They translated legal jargons into Sheng, into simple language, into shorts, sharp videos that anyone could understand. They broke down what new taxes meant in real life. Bread will become more expensive. Cooking oil will rise. Sanitary pads, diapers, fuel, vehicles, even mobile money transactions. Everything that touched daily survival will cost more. One phrase stood out and spread like wildfire. In bold black and white, 16% VAT on bread. It was simple, it was relatable, and it was powerful. Within days, that line became more than information. It became emotion. It became frustration. It became a rallying point. What made this moment unique was that no single person was leading it. There was no politician at the front, no organization calling the shots. Instead, it was decentralized, organic, almost fluid. Creators began sharing Google Docs, living documents update in real time. Inside them were protest dates, meeting points, safe routes, legal contacts, emergency number for medics, and even M-Pesa number where strangers contributed money for water, first aid, and bail. It was coordination without command, structure without hierarchy. The moment gave itself a name, not through declaration, but through repetition. Leaderless, Tribeless, Fearless, and its symbol was just a telling: the Kenyan flag, a water bottle, and a smartphone. By mid-June, hashtag Reject Finance Bill 2024 had taken over timelines across the country. What started as digital awareness was slowly turning into something physical, something that could no longer be contained behind screens. The shift from online to offline came swiftly. Between June 18 and June 20, 2024, the country witnessed its first major wave of street action. It was called Occupied Parliament, and thousands answered the call. In Nairobi CBD, the energy was electric. Young people filled the streets, some waving the flag, others holding handwritten placards, many simply carrying their phones, live streaming every moment. The same scenes unfolded in Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, and Eldoret. For many of them, this was their first protest. There were no seasoned political organizers guiding them, only shared purpose and collective anger. At first, the demonstration remained largely peaceful. Protesters sang, marched, and chanted, but tension lingered just beneath the surface. Police responded with tear gas and water cannons, attempting to disperse the growing crowds. Still, the numbers did not shrink. If anything, they grew. Inside Parliament, debate over the finance bill continued. Outside, a generation was making itself heard. Everything changed on 25th June 2024. That morning carried a different kind of weight. The bill had passed its second reading, and frustration had reached a boiling point. What had been protest began to transform into confrontations. By afternoon, something unprecedented happened. Protesters breached the perimeter of parliament buildings in Nairobi. For a moment, it felt surreal. The symbol of legislative power, long seen as distant and untouchable, was suddenly within reach of ordinary citizens. Chaos followed. Parts of the building were set on fire. Lawmakers were evacuated in a hurry. Smoke rose into the sky, carrying with it the intensity of a nation in unrest. Across Nairobi and in other towns, the state responded forcefully. Police deployed tear gas, batons, and live ammunition. The sound of gunfire cut through the streets. Panic spread. People ran, stumbled, hid, and helped each other where they could. At the same time, something else happened. Less visible, but deeply felt. Internet speed slowed. Social media platform became difficult to access. For a movement that relied on a real-time communication, live stream, and digital coordination, this disruption was more than tactical. It was strategic. Yet even in that moment, people found ways to document, to share, and witness what was happening. That night, President William Ruto addressed the nation. He described the day's event as treasonous, condemning the breach of parliament, but he stopped short of signing the bill into law. The country waited. On June 26th, the announcement came. The Finance Bill 2024 will be withdrawn entirely. It was a moment that felt both shocking and historic. A piece of legislation already advanced in parliament had been halted, largely due to pressure from a decentralized youth-driven movement. And the protests did not end there. They evolved. Through late June and into July, the focus shifted. It was no longer just about the bill. It became about accountability, about police brutality, about reports of abduction and enforced disappearance of activists and outspoken social media users. The demands grew broader, deeper, and more urgent. Then came another turning point. On July 11th, the president dismissed his entire cabinet, except the prime cabinet secretary.
Listening keenly to what the people of Kenya have said, and after a holistic appraisal of the performance of my cabinet and its achievements and challenges, I have today, in line with the powers given to me by Article 1521 and 1525B of the Constitution and Sections 12 of the Office of the Attorney General's Act, decided to dismiss with immediate effect all the Cabinet Secretaries and Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, of the Cabinet of Kenya, except the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Affairs. And of course, the Office of the Deputy President is not affected in any way.
A day later, on July 12th, the Inspector General of Police resigned. These were not small decisions. They reflected the scale of pressure building across the country. But behind the headlines, behind the political shifts, there was a cost, a heavy one. According to the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, more than 60 people lost their lives during the protest period. The majority of these deaths occur on June 25th, the same day Parliament was breached. Over 400 others were injured. Some were hit by live bullets, others by tear gas canisters, many by blunt force during clashes. Each number carried a story, a family, a future interrupted. Among them was 12 years old Kennedy Onyango, shot in Rongai, the youngest confirmed fatality. His name became a symbol of unintended reach of the violence, a reminder that moments like this rarely stay contained. Human rights groups also documented over 66 cases of abduction or enforced disappearance. Protesters or digital activists were taken, held for days, and later released. Some cases, however, remained unsolved long after the protests had faded from headlines. Beyond the casualties, the impact of the movement was undeniable. The Finance Bill 2024 was withdrawn before becoming law. Government spending, particularly for offices like State House, was later reduced. And perhaps most significantly, there was a surge in voter registration among young people, signaling a shift from protest to long-term civic engagement. What made the Gen Z revolution of June 2024 stand out was not just what it achieved, but how it happened. It was coordinated online without formal leadership. It relied on live stream instead of press conferences, on shared documents instead of official structures, on collective voice instead of individual authority. It was fast, adaptive, and difficult to control. A movement born in the digital space that reshaped the physical one. And maybe that is its lasting legacy. Not just the bill that was withdrawn, not just the officials who stepped down, but the realization that a generation often dismissed as distracted or disengaged was watching, learning, organizing, and ready to act. Quietly at first, then all at once. And even now, long after the street had cleared, one thing remains certain. The story of June 2024 is not just about protest. It's about awakening generation. What began on screens became a voice that the country could not ignore. A generation once dismissed as distracted proved it was watching, thinking, and ready to act. Even after the street cleared, something remained. Awareness, courage, a quiet understanding that their voices matter. But deeper impact was this. Young Kenyans realized they can question, organize, and be heard. And once that realization happens, it does not fade. It was a line drawn, a moment that said, things can change. And whether quietly or loudly, that story is still being written. It has been yours truly, Unruly Jayuga, and life as it is diaries continues.